Petrillo, Gareth Wheeler, Jordan Wilson. What did you make now of Cavalry, by the way, getting their rematch against the Vancouver Whitecaps? They do have some history against this MLS side. Remember in 2019 when CPL teams started to compete in the Canadian Championship, they became the first CPL side to defeat an MLS side. That was actually a home and away. They took care of business against Vancouver. Then they ended up facing them a couple years ago. Vancouver beating them in penalties. Here we go again. Let's see what happens the third time these two meet up with each other. What did you make of this match?
The word that comes to mind is guts. That's a character win. They were nowhere near at their best, especially from an attacking perspective this night, where Cavalry, I think the pitch gave them problems. The players in wide areas who started the game, I just don't think they gave enough. But they willed themselves to victory. This is what teams that are championship caliber are all about. Cavalry have proven it in the Canadian Premier League, what they're made of. I think they taught a little bit of a lesson to an up-and-coming team with all kinds of potential, but Vancouver FC are not quite there yet. And you got to say the back four, I mean, they locked up this man, Moses Dyer, Wero Diaz, Aird, Kobza, Klomp, Camden. Outstanding. They set the tone, and they simply willed themselves to victory here tonight.
A wounded deer leaps the highest, Andy Petrillo, right? And what I see with this Cavalry side tonight, they're a bit stagnant the first half. They weren't playing their best football. They weren't poor, but they need to go into another gear. What set them in that other gear was getting that red card by Shamit Shom. They said, okay, look, if we don't turn something up right now, we're going into pens, we could lose a game that we should win. So they did it at the right moment, and it paid off for them.
I thought the wounded deer just limps the most, but no, apparently jumps the highest. Yeah. Okay. And they definitely were wounded. 61st minute is when they pick up that red card. 66th minute is when Toby Rashevsky scores the goal. He's joining us now here on our post-game show. Welcome to the show. I have to say, when you saw the team go down a man, what were you thinking? Was anything said on the field? Because then it just seemed like things really turned around for Cavalry, and it was almost like you didn't lose a man. It was almost like you gained a man.
I think we was after this in the game, everybody fight for each other, and I think this got us even closer together. And yeah, in the end, lucky, and everybody defended 100%, and I think we deserve this win today.
Congrats on your first goal for Cavalry, Toby. It's a big goal as well. It sends you through to the next round of this competition. What's it like to be part of this group? Because, I mean, I call that a character win. Everything might have not been going your way tonight, but you willed yourself to victory. Since you've joined this club, is that what things are like behind the scenes? And that's what it's like in the locker room, because it seems like it permeates on the field.
Yeah, I think when I joined the group, I knew what quality is in here, and from day to day, I see the guys high level playing soccer, and I try to adapt and give my part of it, you know. And I think we're doing a good job. It's a long season, and I think step by step, and I think we have a great team, and we will do good this season.
Toby, good to see you again. Great game. You're back in Canada, and you're back with a huge team in Cavalry.
Yeah.
How's it feel to be back?
Oh, I'm just happy. I enjoy every minute I play, and every minute I can play soccer, and I'm just happy to be here. The team welcomed me very well, and it's just a joy to be here again.
Well, before we let you go, we know you're moving on to the quarterfinals. We already know who your opponent is going to be. It's going to be Major League Soccer side Vancouver Whitecaps, who also happen to be the defending Canadian champions. How does it feel to go up against that kind of opponent?
I think for us this is a very nice challenge. Everybody wants this challenge against the MLS side. We had it in CONCACAF already. I think everybody is excited for this game, and try our best and try to get something over there.
Well, now you can talk about it because you've officially moved on. Congratulations on the win tonight, and once again, thank you for taking the time.
Thank you. Thank you.
That is Tobias Warshevsky, who gets the winning goal here tonight. You know, just a little bit on that player, because this is somebody, as you know, I mean, the question that you asked him is because he didn't play last year. And we already know with Cavalry, some adjustments that they've made with Meyer Bevan not coming back to the team either. Right away, Warshevsky's kind of like thrust into this position of, we need you to score goals. We need you to be that guy as well. And I know they have other players, but just a lot was kind of put on him. And it seems like it's taking a little bit for him to get going, but that goal has to mean so much.
Oh, his manager raves about him. Loves the profile of the player, was really excited from day number one that he's come here. Just a completely different profile than Meyer Bevan. I still think they miss Bevan right now because they don't have that player that maybe plays a little bit more of the, over the top. But certainly, this is what they hope is the start of something. I don't think he had his best game tonight, Jordan. The service just wasn't there for him for the vast majority of this game. But that's what good players do. They find a way. And in the build-up to that goal, he probably had 2 or 3 half chances before he ends up putting it in the back of the net.
You can see he's dusting off the cobwebs.
Yes.
You see with that goal how he chops and how he dangles and gets in between. And that's the Toby that everyone knows in this league. He's a dangerous player. Just needs to get that fluidity back.
Well, before we get to that goal, because I think it matters to talk about the red card, because he scored that goal a man down. 61st minute, it's Shamit Shom, red card. I don't think anyone's disputing this.
No, not at all, Andy Petrillo. Look, I've been on the end of that. I'm sure Wheels has, maybe not as many as I have, but that touch tackle, you take a touch, you have to commit. You really don't mean to go and injure a player, but you know you have to go into this tackle, and you leave your studs up. Like, and he knows, as soon, if you're looking at his body language, Shamit Shom, he knows instantly what is about to happen, and it happens quick. Red card, you know that you're in a locker room, and but most importantly, you know your team are down to 10 men. But kudos to Cavalry because they really rolled up their sleeves after that moment.
He was on a caution anyways, so
Yeah,
whether that was going to be a yellow or a direct sending off, he was done for the night. And quite frankly, Cavalry was lucky because Charlie Trafford picked up a caution, and then literally 90 seconds later went through another challenge that could have been a second caution. So that's what inspired this team. Honestly, I thought they were better with 10 men. They started working harder. They started working as a group. A triple change by Tommy Wheeldon Jr., it worked. I thought when Gutierrez came on the park, he brought the legs, he brought the physicality, he brought the energy. Brooks coming into the game, like these changes matter. And up until that point, that sending off, you're just like, they just seemed like they were a little bit light on ideas.
Yeah, quickly, I just want to say, Wheels, usually you see a team when you're ahead and you go down to 10 men, that you roll up the sleeves and you're a bit like, oh, okay, we got to play better. But to go out and score a goal with a man down and still defend well is something to be said about Cavalry.
I give Cavalry credit, but I'm really disappointed in Vancouver.
Yeah, that was
They honestly, that sending off, they kind of took their foot off the pedal. I felt that they were the better side. They were doing more positive things. Yeah. And then they got outworked over the last 36 minutes of the game with a man up.
Well, maybe they thought they had a little bit more time to take advantage of being a man up because, again, that red card, 61st minute. The goal is 66th, Jordan. This is like 5 minutes later, Cavalry not messing around.
Yeah, when we break it down, we're going to see like how many times Vancouver could have really taken it to Cavalry, but they didn't. And what you're seeing here, first of all, Dan Klomp, MVP last season. Look at that ball to Leighton Brooks, right? And then you just ask Wheels for your winger right here to just create some magic, get into the box, the double step over, this cutback. And why we want to highlight this, we're just looking at the Vancouver players. Look at that, 6 bodies. Right? But no one around this man right here, no one in that cutback zone. And as we play it forward, look at that.
Toby was wide open, by the way. All the players dropped deep. This whole entire clip is 48 seconds of Vancouver losing battles and completely out of control. Look at right there. Kintav lost the ball and just gave up on it.
Yeah, and look at all the players forward, right? There's 4 players and kind of just walking, a stroll in the park. As we play it through, Cavalry say this is our moment to go and counter and repress. And then we talk about dangling and someone going, Toby, on it. But for me, Wheels, Norman Jr. here, this ball should be out in the stands. The fact that Cavalry have another moment to get into the box, Toby's there.
Another missed tackle.
On it. And if you're watching play it through, they play it big to Fraser Aird. Here, Norman Jr. just has to head it back to, he tried to flick it on. And for me, I don't know what Callum Irving's doing to come out there. I think he just needs to stay on his line, Wheels.
He needs to stay on his line and instruct James Cameron, it's your ball. Stay in your line. You're not getting beaten with a player like Warshevsky, by the way, who was involved on the right in the middle and down the left, and the goal comes from this. But how many missed challenges, how many missed clearances, how many players giving up on the play for Vancouver? They can come out, their manager, Rocco Romero, can come out and say the Eagle is landing. Well, certainly over that 48 seconds when you're a man up in a crucial cup tie, that Eagle wasn't flying, it wasn't soaring, it was a nosedive. And honestly, if I'm Vancouver, I'm watching that back, I'm like, what are we doing here? Cavalry outworked them, out-hustled them, and really just willed that ball into the back of the net.
Andy, when you're complacent in defending, that's what happens. And you have a moment, one, to clear it, 2, 3. And if you don't, a team like Cavalry with their quality, they'll punish you.
Well, and if you go back to just before they even went back in the second time, Ali Moussy's on his back. He fell, he's down, legs are in the air, and he's a crucial attacker. He wasn't even part of that play on top of what Cavalry is doing. Because I'm like, who's right now looking like a dead bug on the ground? I'm like, that's Ali Moussy. But they still find the back of the net. Let's hear from Vancouver's manager, Ashton Goppy.
Coach, a difficult result. I just wanted you to talk about the game up into the sending off and then the game after the sending off and how it changed.
First of all, congratulations to the Cavalry fans and Cavalry team. And a big thanks to all our traveling fans. I know a lot of people traveled far, and I'm very disappointed that we were not able to give them a result and send them home happy. Disappointing. I think obviously it's a game, it's a difficult match for both teams, very tight. First half, each team had 2 big chances, 1 each. And then in the second half, it looked like we were coming into our own. Even in the first half, when we put the ball on the ground and played combination, we were able to create openings and create good situations for ourselves. But always it seems like our final decisions and final passes and final moments, we lacked the quality and the precision we needed. Tough game. The red card, it's always kind of a double-edged sword. We have a number up, and I think our players lost concentration for a while. And the opponent worked harder and increased their concentration while we reduced our concentration and our effort. And I feel that at that moment we took a very bad goal. Seemed to be a mistake between players. And down the goal, I thought we reacted well with a lot of energy. We changed system. We tried to play with more strikers in the team. And I think Cavalry did a great job defending a lot of moments when they're deep in their own box. So tough result for us, but the season is very new, and I think we can learn a lot from this defeat, even though it's a moment we don't want to be learning, we want to be winning.
Yeah, the competition's over. The Voyageurs Cup won't be coming to Vancouver this year, at least for VFC. What are those positives you can take? And you got a quick turnaround. You're coming up real quick. What are the positives you can take out of tonight?
Well, I think the positives are the unity of the team, the spirit of the team, tactical variations that we can play. I think that it wasn't the lack of effort, it was more lack of concentration. And it's our first road game as a team officially, and I think that there's a different rhythm, different moments and conditions you have to deal with, and I think we lacked maybe that sharpness that we had in the last 2 home games.
Well, let's try and figure out what went wrong for Vancouver. And he did mention, Ashton Goppy just mentioned there, it was their first road game. We know that they were not good on the road last year. And even though it's been a strong start for them, both of those games at home, do you think it's something wrong with being away from home? What can you put your finger on tonight?
Yes, it's completely different rhythm. I think he's absolutely right. I do kind of disagree with some of his comments because I do think that some of the effort, at least at the end of the game or in critical moments, they were just outworked. Let's be honest, it's a step up in competition to the 2 teams that they playing the team that ran away with the Canadian Premier League Championship in the regular season title last year. Cavalry are a good team, the best team in the Canadian Premier League at home. This was a big test for them, and they came up just short. I think they're going to be kicking themselves based upon the opportunities that they had to go on and face a local rival in Vancouver for the next game. We look at their chances, a bunch of half chances, and maybe a little bit of a better one in the dying minutes of the game, Jordan. There wasn't really a whole lot there, was there?
No, there wasn't, Wheels, and you know it better than most. This was a missed opportunity. When you have the best team in the Canadian Premier League just off of last season, top quality, you have to take care of these moments. And for me, watching Vancouver FC with you guys today, it's just they didn't really get out of second gear. Yeah, they got into decent moments, but the team that have been playing the past 2 weeks really got into the box, really wanted to take advantage of moments, and today was a bit tentative.
This is the best chance right here.
This is the best one. Great save by Mark Carducci, because that takes a bit of deflection off of Leighton Brooks as well, but quick hands. But today they were there, but they weren't really present in all those moments, and I think that's why they weren't the victors.
Yeah, if you're going to play with two players up top, Dyer and Diaz, then the service needs to be a whole lot better. That gap between the midfield and the attacking two maybe was a little bit disjointed.
Yeah.
Losing Caden Chung in the first half, maybe took away the rhythm to a certain degree. They didn't play poorly in the game, but good isn't good enough when you're playing a great team like Cavalry.
No, it really was, again, those 5 minutes where Cavalry goes down a man, but then ends up turning on the Jets. And then they just couldn't find their rhythm to get the tying goal as we look at the full-time stats here.
The XG, that tells you the story. They didn't create enough, and this was a team that only scored 10 goals away from home in 14 games last season.
Well, Jordo has them setting a new record this year as well in CPL regular season play for goals scored.
48.
Yeah, he really has.
I'm not taking it back.
No. I mean, listen, this is Canadian Championship play. Maybe they'll find that form again in CPL. This is the first game of the 17th edition of the TELUS Canadian Championship. We have another game that's coming up tomorrow night. We're going to preview that quickly. But tonight belongs to Cavalry. They move on to the quarterfinals. They will take on the defending Canadian champions, Vancouver Whitecaps. Stay with us here on One Soccer.
Toyota's electrified vehicles are for everyone. Every chauffeur, snack connoisseur, every scenery soaker, practical joker, every road tripper, toe dipper, every 9-to-5er, every long driver. Starting over 20 years ago with the Prius, we now have the largest lineup of electrified vehicles in Canada, because this journey belongs to everyone.
Do we really have any choice at all? Everyone has a choice, and every choice has a consequence.
Which do you choose?
Life's full of tough choices, isn't it?
How do you choose?
From the edge of your seat or up on your feet, let them hear you cheer.
Another CanChamp game tomorrow. It is Toronto taking on Simcoe County Rovers. Talk about opposite sides of the pendulum here. 7 p.m. Eastern on One Soccer. As the 2024 TELUS Canadian Championship continues, it is the preliminary round. Cavalry the first to move on. A 1-0 victory here tonight over Vancouver FC. What are we expecting for tomorrow?
Excitement, Andy. Excitement.
I don't know how to feel. I'm excited, obviously, for Simcoe. I'm also just very nervous.
Simcoe County Rovers are from League One Ontario. Their co-owners, some of them are very familiar faces in Canadian soccer circles. I saw Daniil Henry down at BMO Field on Saturday night. He was down there with the team today. Julian de Guzman, Janine Becky, Atiba Hutchinson. And they actually brought out and had on the table as the players walked out today the Canadian Championship winning medals. And that's what really makes it real for a lot of these young players playing in League One Ontario. Not only playing in the shadow oftentimes of bigger clubs. I'm not even just talking about Toronto FC, York United, Forge, these teams that play in the same area. Now they get to play under the lights at BMO. It's going to be a pretty special moment. As for TFC, it's going to be really compelling to see how much rotation there will be, because they've had fitness issues with a number of different players. I'm not sure how many players they can afford to lose or afford not to play. So it's going to be a good test for Simcoe County Rovers and a special night. I hope they enjoy it. Daniil Henry, he still wants to get out there and play. I'm sure he's going to be itching. He wishes he was on the field playing, but it's going to be a lot of fun for him and everyone else involved tomorrow night.
Well, and I love that they did that, and I love that they allow, you know, the players to dream, to hope, to see what can be, because it is realistic. I mean, Alistair Johnston, that is part of his story, playing in League One. Alistair Johnston doing what he's doing with the national team and obviously winning trophies out in Scotland, starting in League One, right? So this is very much a reality that they can look at these types of things, they can play these kinds of teams, be exposed to this kind of environment, and be inspired by it.
Absolutely, and Simcoe started in 2021. Like, this is a recent club, right? Like, it's 2021. It's crazy to think about, but this is a big dance for them. This is the dance, the ball, prom, whatever you want to look at, but also more of a David and Goliath story as well. Like, a few of the Simcoe players play for TFC Academy. You get to go there, you get to play under the big lights. This is that time. Like I said, in League One, you're going to go and battle and do what you're going to do for a 20-odd game season. But this is the game you're going to remember. All those moments, a moment maybe you should have scored, all of that. So hope they relish it tomorrow.
What are you expecting from TFC in general quickly in this tournament? I know we'll probably get more into it tomorrow.
I think it's a very important tournament for John Herdman and company. This is your way to potentially get back in to the CONCACAF Champions Cup. Like I said, still no Insigne, still no Lorea, but the semifinals and finals are much later in the season when you can expect these players to be available. Right now, just do what you need to do to be pragmatic, survive, move on, and hope you have a full squad or a different looking squad come the summer months.
Cup football is to say we did it that year. Toronto FC needed to be there in the midst of everything, and tomorrow's the first step of that.
We're going to set you up for that game even more tomorrow when we actually have it here on One Soccer. This is the exciting time of year when they make their way towards this whole path and journey to the Voyageurs Cup. Who will lift it this year? Well, right now, Cavalry is getting one step closer as they defeat Vancouver FC here tonight 1-0 to move on to the quarterfinals. They will be facing the Vancouver Whitecaps. On behalf of everyone here tonight, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow, Canada.
To play. It's something that's in us from the very beginning, and something we take with us on every step of the journey.